Imagine for a second that you're the CEO of BASF, the largest chemical company in the world. Your factories have been running continuously since 1865. You employ 111,000 people. You produce everything from fertilizers to pharmaceuticals to the plastics in every car dashboard on Earth. And in September 2022, you do something your company has never done in 157 years. You permanently shut down ammonia production in Europe. Not because of regulations, not because of competition, but because you literally cannot afford to keep the lights on. This is not a story about one company. This is the story of how Europe as industrial superpower is systematically dismantling the very thing that made it powerful in the first place. And it's happening faster than anyone predicted. When people think German economy, they think cars, BMW, Mercedes, Volkswagen. But that's not what made Germany the industrial engine of Europe. Germany's real power was energy-intensive manufacturing, chemicals, steel, glass, cement, fertilizer. The stuff nobody thinks about, but everything depends on. These industries have one thing in common. They eat energy for breakfast. A single BASF chemical plant in Ludwigshafen consumes as much natural gas in 1 year as the entire country of Switzerland. One plant, one chemical complex, more energy than 8.7 million people. And for decades, this worked perfectly. Why? Because Germany had something no other major economy had: cheap, reliable pipeline gas from Russia. Nord Stream 1 delivered 55 billion cubic meters of natural gas per year directly into Germany's industrial heartland. It was cheap, absurdly cheap by global standards. It was reliable, and it required zero liquefaction, zero shipping, zero regasification. Just a pipe, just physics. This wasn't luck, this was strategy. Germany built its entire industrial model on a single assumption: energy would always be cheap and abundant. And for 40 years, that assumption held. German manufacturers could undercut competitors globally, not because of better technology or cheaper labor, but because their input costs were structurally lower. A chemical plant in Germany could produce ammonia for 30% less than the same plant in Asia. This was Germany's moat. This was the fortress. And then in February 2022, Russia invaded Ukraine. Here's what most people miss about the energy shock. It wasn't the invasion itself that broke Germany's industrial model. It was the response. Within months, Europe decided to eliminate Russian gas entirely. Not reduce it, not diversify away gradually. Eliminate it. Nord Stream 1 was shut down. Nord Stream 2, an $11 billion pipeline that was literally finished and ready to operate, was canceled before it ever delivered a single molecule of gas. And Germany was left scrambling. The plan was to replace pipeline gas with LNG, liquefied natural gas shipped from the United States, Qatar, Australia. But here's the problem. LNG is not the same as pipeline gas. Pipeline gas costs about $4 to $6 per million BTU in a normal market. LNG costs $12 to $15 per million BTU. After you factor in liquefaction, shipping, and regasification, that's not a 20% increase. That's a tripling of energy costs. And for energy-intensive industries, that's not a margin squeeze. That's a death sentence. A fertilizer plant that was profitable at $6 gas goes into the red at $12 gas. Not struggling, not break even. Deeply, structurally unprofitable. A steel mill that could compete globally at European energy prices cannot compete when energy costs triple. It doesn't matter how efficient your furnace is. The math just stops working. And so, one by one, Germany's industrial giants started shutting down. BASF closed ammonia production permanently. Yara, Europe's largest fertilizer producer, idled 35% of its capacity. ArcelorMittal reduced steel output by 30%. Countless mid-sized manufacturers simply stopped production. Some moved, some downsized, some just disappeared. And here's the part nobody talks about. These aren't temporary shutdowns. These are permanent capacity reductions. When you shut down a blast furnace, you don't just flip a switch to turn it back on. When you idle a chemical plant for 2 years, the equipment corrodes, the workforce disperses, the supply chain fragments. Industrial capacity, once lost, is almost impossible to rebuild. Now, if this were just a short-term shock, Germany could ride it out. But this isn't short-term. This is structural. Europe has no domestic natural gas, and every long-term contract it signs now locks in prices that are multiples higher than what Russia was charging. Meanwhile, the United States is paying $3 per million BTU. China is signing 20-year pipeline deals with Russia at $6 per million BTU. Germany, $15 per million BTU. This is not a temporary competitive disadvantage. This is a permanent one, and manufacturers are noticing. In 2023, German industrial production fell by 7%. Chemical production dropped by 15%. Steel output hit its lowest level since the 1970s. But the real story isn't the decline. It's where the capacity is going. BASF isn't shutting down production, it's moving production. The company is investing $10 billion in a new chemical complex in China, not Europe. China. Why? Because energy there costs half as much. Because the regulatory environment is simpler. Because the supply chains are already built. Volkswagen is expanding production in the United States and China. Siemens is shifting manufacturing to Asia. Even mid-sized German companies, firms that have been family-owned for generations, are quietly relocating. This is not a blip. This is capital flight. And once it starts, it accelerates. Here's where the story gets darker. Industrial capacity doesn't just matter for jobs or GDP, it matters for sovereignty. When BASF stops producing ammonia in Europe, Europe stops producing ammonia. And ammonia isn't just fertilizer, it's the foundation of the entire agricultural system. No ammonia means no fertilizer. No fertilizer means lower crop yields. Lower crop yields means food imports. When European steel mills shut down, Europe starts importing steel from China, from India, from countries that still have cheap energy. When chemical plants move to Asia, Europe loses the ability to produce pharmaceuticals, plastics, polymers. This is not about economics anymore. This is about dependency. If Germany wanted to restart domestic ammonia production tomorrow, it couldn't. The plants are closed. The expertise has left. The energy is too expensive. If Europe wanted to reshore steel production, it would take a decade and hundreds of billions in subsidies, and it still wouldn't be cost competitive. Industrial capacity, once offshored, is almost impossible to bring back. Germany didn't just lose factories, it lost optionality. So how did this happen? How did Europe's most powerful economy walk into a trap this obvious? The answer is simpler and more painful than most people want to admit. Germany made a bet, a big one. The bet was this: economic interdependence creates peace. If Germany bought gas from Russia, Russia would never weaponize that gas. If trade ties were deep enough, war would become unthinkable. For 40 years, that bet paid off. Germany got cheap energy. Russia got hard currency. Everyone won. But the bet had a fatal flaw. It assumed rationality on both sides. And when Russia invaded Ukraine, the bet collapsed. The irony is savage. Germany built its industrial power on Russian gas because it wanted to avoid war. And when war came anyway, Germany lost the industry. Right now, Germany is trying to salvage what's left. Massive subsidies for energy-intensive industries, new LNG terminals, renewable energy expansion, hydrogen infrastructure. But none of this solves the fundamental problem. Germany no longer has a structural energy cost advantage. Even if renewables ramp up, the intermittency of wind and solar means industrial users still need backup. And that backup is expensive. Even if hydrogen becomes viable, it will take decades to scale. And it will never be as cheap as Russian pipeline gas was. The fortress is gone. The moat has been drained. And once competitiveness is lost, it doesn't come back just because you want it to. The companies that moved to China aren't moving back. The supply chains that shifted to Asia aren't reversing. Germany is now in a managed decline. It will remain a wealthy country. It will remain politically important. But it will never again be the industrial powerhouse it was from 1980 to 2020. That era is over. Here's the lesson, and it's bigger than Germany. Industrial power is not a luxury. It's not something you can outsource and expect to get back when you need it. When you lose the ability to produce steel, chemicals, fertilizer, cement, you lose more than jobs. You lose sovereignty. You lose optionality. You lose the ability to act independently in a crisis. Germany learned this the hard way. For 40 years, it ran the most successful industrial economy in Europe by making a single elegant bet that energy would always be cheap and that geopolitics would never interrupt commerce. That bet is now broken. And the cost of being wrong is an entire industrial base. The factories aren't coming back. The competitive advantage is gone. This wasn't a policy mistake. This wasn't bad luck. This was the cost of assuming that economics alone could insulate you from geopolitics. And in the end, physics won. Energy is the economy. And when the energy goes away, so does everything built on top of it.